All right. What's up, guys? We are here today with episode 5, we're going to call it, of Soccer Talk with Lauren. Well, let's go with 5 because I like we're talking about off camera. I literally just watched Spurs put 5 past Everton. So that should actually make us feel a little bit better about what happened to TFC this weekend. Do we start with that, or where are we going with this?
It's funny. Before the game, I went out for a drink with my boyfriend and a friend of ours, and we were guessing in what moment TFC, like what minute of the game TFC would concede. And I had third. I was very down on it, but I think my friend Luke had said 15, and he was the closest because I think the first goal was like the 17th minute.
Yeah, you were down. Like my last chat, you weren't very optimistic.
No, I mean, I still have hope, but there's a lot of issues for sure. Right.
Well, there's issues with the back line, and there's some other news regarding that. I'm not going to say we're breaking it here, but let's pretend.
Perfect days. Crescito probably not coming as soon as we hoped, if at all.
If at all. Well, that's different.
Well, I mean, the news was kind of like he'll reevaluate in the summer.
Oh, interesting.
Even though apparently it was like already agreed, like to terms, like not signed, but like everything else was kind of agreed to. It seems like he kind of pulled out last.
Do you know how much? I mean, you're very savvy with this stuff. Do you know how much we were gonna pay him?
No, I don't think that had come out at any point.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So. I mean, the guy who scored the hat trick, Lewis Morgan, was like looking like Lewis Hamilton, zooming around the back line there. I mean, he was in Miami last year. I had to look him up, but
I don't really know much about him. And honestly, it was like, I swear, like, because they had 2 goals disallowed, so they really scored 6 goals, and it was like pretty much like 6 goals on target, 6 shots on target, 6 goals. Like it was almost, it felt like every time they shot the ball, it was going in the net.
Right. So you were there live. Which was uglier, the pitch or the performance? That looked pretty bad on TV.
The pitch was really bad. It was in really bad condition. Apparently there was like quite a few factors for that, but yeah, that needs to be fixed for sure. I mean, like, it didn't seem like the ball or the play was impacted by it that much. It's hard to say because like the other side of the field, I think, is where it was worse. And I was obviously on the east side, or like southeast. So I don't know. But it didn't seem like it was affecting the play that much. Like on my side anyways, there was like a lot of good ones up the wing. So
any bright spots, like as far as you can see it for TFC, not for the Red Bulls, a number of bright spots for them?
Yeah, I don't think they had any issues. Picasso looked really good. Okay. I didn't really necessarily expect that he would be, starting games, getting the time. We're obviously only 2 games in, but he was really impactful at the beginning. Like for a while, it seemed like he was really the only thing keeping us in it. He made a lot of really great runs, put a lot of really good balls in, and just like worked really hard.
So, okay. No, he did actually play very well. I agree with that. And he's got a good background, good experience. So I'm not surprised that he kind of has a technical ability to do well, but you never know. You never really know because how it translates.
I also thought Salcedo was good again, but like you have to feel for him, right? And even, I mean, people watch the broadcast could say like you could see him getting frustrated with the back line and the players around him, and like I don't blame him. I thought that Shane O'Neill guy, I think, who we got from Seattle, like wasn't terrible. I think, it's obviously like a brand new back line. Like the 4 players that were back there have not played together really like that ever before. So it's going to take a while, but Schaffelberg, I've never been on the Schaffelberg hype train.
Right.
A lot of people have, like there's TFC fans that call him like Schaffel God. And
that's a horrible nickname.
I know.
I call what I call Lamar Miller. I had some playoff of Maldini. Now I can't remember it. Damn, but he was playing. But yeah. Anyway, I just ruined it for myself.
But no, like
Maldini. Let's go with that. That's the one. Anyway. Completely.
But like last season, I mean, the team was so bad. Schaffelberg was a bright spot to some extent because he was the only player a lot of the time that seemed to be trying. But I think so far this year, he's been completely outclassed in both games. Like this game, very early on, he had like lost the ball out of bounds, like by his own, just kind of like flubbing his feet. He wasn't putting in good balls. Like he was getting bodied off the ball so much. And I'm like, I think there needs to be a change. Like, I don't know.
Confidence isn't high right now.
Yeah. And I don't know what our options are unless we maybe go 3 at the back and then give him the ability to push up further. I don't know. But him playing where he is, it's not working.
Yeah. So this leads me to my next question for you. So obviously, you've expressed numerous concerns about the back line in our previous chats. That's come to some level of fruition so far, even though it's only a few games in. Obviously, Crucito, this news is what it is. Not ideal. Is there anything in the works that you're aware of, behind that is going on behind the scenes in terms of signings? No, there's no rumblings.
No, and I don't imagine there will be many more until we get to like the next transfer window, right? Like at this point, TFC kind of has to do with what they have until the summer. That's right. I don't imagine anything happens before that.
So yeah, so there's pretty much nothing positive to talk about there. I mean, like I told you, I wore this Ian Wright shirt today because Arsenal. Talk about the Prem for a bit. I know you want to talk a little bit about United and City. Arsenal Watford was pretty crazy. The Premier League is spicing up quite nicely because there's like now a relegation race, which Everton is pretty much a part of. I feel bad for Frank Lampard because I feel like I like Frank Lampard, but yeah, it's like it's not looking good.
He also is one of those people though that I don't want to say he failed upwards, but he definitely was given positions that the average new coach wouldn't get if they didn't have his name, right? And just because someone's a good player doesn't automatically mean that they're going to be a good coach.
Yeah, that's true.
And he hasn't proven himself in previous roles, and yet he continues to get those roles. But
right. I mean, the party might be, I'll be very interesting. A club like Everton, it's hard to see them going down. I mean, certainly, like teams below them, like Norwich has been very, very poor. Watford's okay. Burnley has have game in hands and they have a lot of grit, so we'll see. But the top 4 race is very spicy. I mean, for me, myself personally, like, I enjoy, like, I've been to the Emirates. I'm not like a diehard Arsenal fan or anything, but I laugh a little bit because like I would watch a little bit of like Arsenal fan TV in the past, and you see how they were talking about Arteta out. But damn, I mean, they're doing very well with games in hand. Still 10 games, a lot can happen, but certainly they're looking better than United, which I'm going to let you talk about next. I watched United City. It's tough, right?
Yeah, honestly, I haven't watched a lot of United games this season, and a lot of that is to do with them re-signing Ronaldo. But it's also just like not fun to watch anymore. And, I will say like I'm a big proponent of not quitting on your team when they're bad. So I don't want it to like sound like it's that, but at the same time, like there's just so many issues and it goes beyond the manager. It goes beyond the players. It's a little bit about it's those things, but then also like, the front office, the owners, and they continually make bad decisions as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I was watching the game. Like, now I don't necessarily watch games like with like a tactical analysis in mind, but definitely like Maguire and Lindelof definitely looked like they were not presented in the best light on a few occasions. That was definitely Sancho scored a nice goal. I'll give him that. I mean, it's been weird. It's been weird for United. Obviously, like I always enjoy. Do you ever watch Roy Keane's like commentary on things? That's like my favorite stuff. Like I can just watch him to talk about anything. And I also actually I was on Sky Sports Transfer Center, and I saw there was an article about Rashford, how he's reconsidering, or he's going to consider his United future. Yeah. What are your general thoughts about Marcus Rashford and all that? Because we haven't talked
I love Marcus Rashford. I know he's struggled obviously a bit with injuries in the last couple of seasons. Same with like on the England squad, whatever, and even like fought for playing time with England too lately. I don't blame him. Like, I feel like it's always very sad if and when a player leaves their like hometown boyhood club. That's really sad. That being said, it's like a business, and I get from his point of view, he hasn't been getting the minutes. Like I was looking before, he's only started 2 of 11 matches this season, has been an unused sub a couple times, and only one of the games he missed from injury. Everyone else, like, he's just having on. So I get when, you know, in prior seasons under prior coaches, he was like, you know, the starting for the goal scorer, right? Like the focus. So I get it.
He feels like he's been around forever, but he's still.
Yeah.
I was talking about this with my cousin yesterday, Christian, about Ronaldo Sanchez, who also feels like he's only 22 because we were watching some Lille highlights, and Jonathan David scored for Lille. I think he went a couple games without scoring. I mean, Lille's obviously not having a great season compared to last year anyway. But for some, I feel like depending on what happens at PSG, you know, I mean, I don't know, maybe Rashford would do well in the league where there's.
I was seeing today though that there's rumors that Ronaldo is going to go to PSG. So
really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much credence there is. It was something I saw on Twitter, but
right. Okay. Yeah. Very, very interesting. Okay, maybe. I mean, the pair of them could go theoretically. I don't know if you know. PSG
that also comes to what we were talking about before we went on record about, you know, the rumors that maybe Ronaldo's injuries aren't necessarily.
What's your gut feeling about that?
I mean, he's scum. I don't know. Right. I don't, you know, who knows?
Yeah, you don't particularly care. Yeah. I was talking about this with someone today who's a Man U fan. Sorry, go make your point first though.
Well, I had seen a clip from the coach who had said kind of like, I just have to go by what the doctor tells me. Which
that's an interesting comment to make, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not like an absolute denial. I know some clubs are different. Like, you know, the head coach doesn't always talk to the players as much one-on-one, especially like it depends. But and like that's kind of the impression I got. But yeah, to just say, oh, well, I'm just going off what the doctor tells me doesn't really put those suspicions to bed at all.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, the premise tough, right? There's been almost 30 games. There are hardly any scores with over 10 goals. And, you know, I don't know what Ronaldo's mindset is like in terms of in his own head, he probably thought it was going to be a little different. I mean, realistically, it hasn't quite played out that way. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, the reality is he can get injured and miss games. I mean, I was talking to my friends, a Man United fan who was like more in the mindset of like he does want to leave. Or he's not happy, or there's something going on. But I mean, whatever, you know, the guy can get injured. I mean, takes care of himself well. Doesn't mean he can't get injured. But anyway, whatever. Don't need to really talk about. You know, we got the right Ronaldo on the wall, so it's all good. I didn't quite have him optimized for this, but it's all good. Okay, so I know there's a few other things that we want to talk about in the soccer world that you had some notes on. Yeah. Let's go for it.
I mean, I think the big one is what happened in Mexico on the weekend. I mean, reports are still kind of fuzzy, but basically in the Atlas versus Querétaro game, probably butchered.
Ronaldinho played for them, and so did that guy Camilo Sanvezzo from the Whitecaps. Remember that guy? Played for them for a bit. Yeah. Why do I know that? I have no idea, but there you go.
I don't know. But yeah, so the game ended up getting suspended, I think around halftime maybe, because there was just like a massive stadium-wide brawl basically. And for anyone that didn't see the videos, don't look for them. Like that's some of the most disturbing stuff I've seen in my entire life. And I watch a lot of true crime stuff. That was like, it was disgusting. And I think one of the biggest issues that, well, there's a lot, but there just doesn't really seem to be any clarity on what casualties are actually, like what the numbers are. Like the day of, there was reports that maybe as many as like 17 people were killed, 30 injured. But like the Mexican, like the league is still saying no casualties. Whereas there's like reports of family members being like, yeah, like our family member died.
That's questionable.
And honestly, like seeing some of the footage and some of the photos, it's hard to believe that some of the things that we saw weren't dead bodies, honestly. Like it's wild. But I was doing a bit of reading on it, and it apparently for, you know, two teams that have a bit of a rivalry, like their ultras are both quite extreme and like known for a bit of violence. But like security was woefully underprepared, very small amount of them, and we're even like in the day leading up to the game posting adverts for security like needed, no experience required, which is.
And so I'm okay, so and I'm only loosely, as I point out to random players that play for this team
Right.
I haven't heard of. I'm only loosely familiar with Liga MX. Was this like a heated derby, like a rivalry of some kind, or was it just like a game that, you know, it just happened? I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter. It's horrible what happened, but
yeah, I mean, I had seen reports that both teams, like their ultras, are known for being quite extreme.
right,
Although it doesn't appear that they've had like, you know, a long storied rivalry. But like you've said, like it doesn't matter. Like the
right,
fact that it happened, and like you see, you know, parents shielding their children or like taking their jerseys off because if you're seen with this jersey, you're going to
right.
get head bashed in. Like that shouldn't be happening at all.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I went to a Millwall game and it was like a little bit rough, but it was nothing. This is another level.
Yeah.
That's pretty grim.
Yeah.
I definitely will. I mean, I had, unfortunately, I hadn't had a chance. Like I mentioned, like we mentioned off camera, I didn't read the full article yet. Obviously, I'm going to now, and I'll take your advice on not seeing the footage then, obviously. Yeah, I mean, obviously, wish the best for, you know, and the families involved in that, because that's the last thing, especially with like what like soccer means to so many people, and you know the family ties that are involved with going to matches, and you know it could be a one-off, like a special thing, like who knows, economically, like some family could be there for the first time, like whatever. So like that's like pretty haunting from that perspective. Yeah, so I mean, obviously today's chat was like, you know, this is the reality of things. I mean, there's various like, you know, whatever, whether it's football results or like events at football games, like obviously a little bit less shiny today. Is there anything positive that occurred at all in any
I
capacity?
mean, so if we're sticking to soccer,
Or anything
sure.
positive?
Charlotte, well, just to be on brand, Charlotte FC joined
Got that green
MLS.
going on.
Yes. And they had their home opener and had like 74,000 people, which
Yeah.
is remarkable. I believe that's an MLS record. They did lose to Greg Vanny's LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
But they tried, and apparently
Yeah.
it was great and exciting. So that's kind of cool. I have a girlfriend that's moving out that way in a couple months, and hoping to go when TFC plays them
Oh, that's
away.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll
Nice.
be
Yeah. Shout out to my friend Nico, who plays for the Charleston Battery. It's South Carolina.
nice.
Yeah. So he plays for Charleston Battery, and I actually he got me tickets to a game. They played TFC 2 like a couple of summers back. So I went with my dad. I mean, those are just kids, right? They destroyed them, but no, it was at BMO.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was like a
remember
USL match. I don't think TFC 2 plays in USL anymore, though, do they?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. But they were like, I forgot they played at BMO, but they were playing at Lamport quite a bit. So I was meeting some friends a couple of years ago would go quite often, because like I'm pretty sure you could go with your TFC ticket from that week, so you didn't even have to
I think so.
And it was just a fun little evening.
Yeah, no, it was definitely fun to to watch. I literally we actually met via Instagram, so it was great. It was a great time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that was a few years ago. I you know, I need to be spamming him all our videos now. I'm definitely gonna send him this one just because I
talked about shout out. So
yeah, if you're watching this, Nico, send me some Charleston Battery gear, because I'll definitely rep that. I have to say as well, like regarding Charlotte, I really like their kits. I mean, it's a very superficial comment, but when I saw those, I'm just like, and they also just remind me of the Charlotte Hornets, like the old school Charlotte Hornets, with like, not this means anything, maybe this means anything, like Alonzo Mourning and stuff, and like Muggsy Bogues. That just reminded me of all that. So like I'm all for that. So there we go. Might as well end on a bright note.
There we go.
Chat, it'll be better, but like who knows? It's all good. That was a great chat anyway, though.
Enjoyed it.
All right, sweet. Well, thanks, Lauren, as always. I hope you guys enjoyed this ep, and then we'll see you for the next one. All right, peace.
Yeah.